Hey guys, Thrashy here. Today we're talking about the bodybuilding hybrid Saiyan, Super Trunks. Let's get into it right now. Okay, so Super Trunks is a melee burst damage dealer. He doesn't have a lot of sustain, a lot of his abilities cost quite a bit of ki, but if you can set him up properly before you bring him into the battlefield, he can do a ton of damage really fast. So let's go ahead and look at his abilities real quick and understand how he works a little better. Show details, ability. The first thing is his main ability, 75% to strike damage increase. That's not 75% to his strike stat, that is a 75% increase to the final damage that he's going to do. So that is monstrous. That is one of the largest buffs in the game, and if you use this ability and you have him set up properly so you can use all of your strike arts right away, you will smoke your opponent, almost guaranteed. Now the other thing to notice here is that when it increases his strike arts cost, you have to make sure you've got full ki before you use this. You really want to set this up. And the other thing is it reduces the vanishing gauge recovery. So if you don't have vanishing gauge up, you probably won't have it up after you use this main ability. So after you use this, you'll need to be ready to switch out to another unit. The next thing to look at is his Z ability, and we have one of these dual Z abilities. So it's not just an increase to strike attack and strike defense, it's strike attack, and then we have a secondary ability, which is an increase to critical chance, which means that we're starting to see this critical meta come in here where we've seen one or two units that increase critical damage, we have multiple units that are increasing critical chance, and we're going to see a lot of overlapping Z abilities where they increase something and then multiple units are increasing their critical chance and critical damage, so critical can actually scale now. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, another thing to keep in mind is he's buffing the hybrid Saiyan team, which is starting to get pretty reasonably strong, and in the very near future, we'll talk about this in a second, in the very near future they're going to be very, very good. So we'll get back to that. But here's the other two major things. His big thing is that he is going to reduce your strike defense when he comes onto the battlefield. So like I said before, you really want to have a setup unit sort of get his full kit ready to go. So you're going to get multiple strike arts cards ready to go, you're going to make sure you have full ki, and then you're going to switch into this unit and he is going to increase the strike damage that the opponent receives for 10 timer counts by 20%. So that's when you jump in, use this unit, you're going to use your main ability which increases by 75%, this increases by another 20%, you're going to use 3 to 4 strike arts cards and you are going to completely destroy your opponent. Now the other thing to notice here is he does work extremely well with any Vegeta. If you have a Vegeta on your team and a Vegeta is defeated, he's going to get a huge ki recovery boost. But the problem is, overall his abilities are just too expensive. I don't think this is an extremely valuable skill right here just because he's not a unit that's good at sustain. You should be using your strike arts cards in a long combo and then immediately switching out to a different unit. This isn't bad because if you're doing the sidestep tech or you're doing anything else that allows you to gain a little bit of ki back, every bit of ki counts. So I'm not knocking this completely, but you shouldn't be using him as a sustain unit. Okay, now let's go look at his arts, and we're going to see a couple cool things here. He's one of the very few units in the game that has any type of an alteration to their strike or their blast card. So if we look at strike, he actually has a 5% chance to inflict stun, feint, whatever you want to call it. So 1 out of every 20 strike attacks should stun your opponent. And I have seen with the use of this green card down here, which increases it by another 10% up to 15%, I've seen with those two together, someone stun up to 4 times in a row with strike arts cards. So it is very valuable. I wouldn't count on that happening though, because at 15% chances are you probably won't get them back to back very often. Every now and then you can though, and you will absolutely crush somebody if that's the case. So let's look at the blast. Nothing's going on there, nothing crazy, just a normal blast card. And you shouldn't really be doing blast damage with this unit. That's not what he's for. He's for strike. He's 100% built around strike. But the other thing to notice here is his special move. It does increase his strike damage by another 10%. It's not extremely powerful. I wouldn't really use this unless you absolutely have to. It does increase his strike damage, but it's going to take away 2 strike arts cards from you, which will do more damage than this Buster Cannon anyway. One side note, the Buster Cannon does look pretty cool, so it does get bonus points for that. Okay, so let's look at his stats real quick. Okay, so on the stats side, one thing he definitely has going for him is he has the best strike stat in the game, period. One thing that's sort of against him here is his health pool is fairly low, and his defenses are not great. They're not terrible. He's like 10th or 11th in strike and blast defense, but they're not great. And with a low health pool, that's something that you need to consider. I wouldn't call him a glass cannon, but I definitely would not call him extremely durable. One other thing to note here that's definitely working in his favor is he's 100% strike based, and he does bring 2 strike arts cards, so that's amazing. Now the question is, where does he fit in the meta? He is a great strike unit. He fits on the hybrid Saiyan team. He can fit on some teams where you set up say 2 green and a red, or any type of a strike team. But the main thing that you're going to be putting him on is that hybrid Saiyan team, which right now is an okay team. I wouldn't call it top tier, but it's about to get a lot better because we know that the Gohans are incoming. I don't know how long it will be until we get Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, but it won't be that long. Regardless, he has an extremely powerful Z ability, so he's going to be on that hybrid Saiyan team even if you're not using him in a battle. With that being said, as far as where he sits in a tier list, he is right below top tier. He's right on the edge of top tier and mid tier, and I think, like I said, he's going to get better when Super Saiyan 2 Gohan comes out. So he may actually move up into the bottom of the very top tier. So he's a great unit. He's a unit that I would say, if you pull him, he's one you're probably going to be using for quite a while. Because of the banner he's on, you have another top tier unit that's on that banner. It's probably worth spending a few stones to try and go after him. I wouldn't chase him, he's not good enough to chase, but it's worth spending a few stones to see if you can get him, because he is a very good unit. As far as how long he'll stay in the meta, he's going to be around for a while. Super Saiyan 2 Gohan's going to make him better, and Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, I guarantee you, will be in the meta for a long time. He's going to be another one of those units that's absolutely top tier. And that's really all there is to Super Trunks. If you guys have any questions, anything else you want to throw into my commentary here, throw it down in the comments and we'll make sure to respond to it. And if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.